Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Saturday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome. I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, and I welcome you to this live. I had to restart my phone again. It wasn't letting me go a live show. I apologize. Had to restart my phone again. So tonight's topic is an interesting one. I feel like I said that every night. Tonight is interesting because some of you may have heard this Indian story, Indian proverb, if American Indian proverb story, if you would, and that is that hey Jenny, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. Perfect timing. I had to restart my phone again. It wouldn't allow me to go live. It would just kind of blink. So sorry, I sent you a screenshot too. I don't know if you saw it, but that does that. It does that a lot. But anyway, so let's get to the story. So most of you, or some of you, may know of this story already, and I'm gonna give you such a big. Okay, so one thing that I like to do is I like to take some of these stories with the regular takeaways and just the most common, I guess, takeaways, and really dissect it and flip it in a way that you and I both really think about some other possibilities to the same thing, right? So I hope that makes sense. Most of you have probably heard this story. And hey, Sarah, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. So most of you have probably heard this story, but I'm going to give you a whole different twist to it. So the story goes that a young man comes to his grandfather and asks him, "Hey, how is it that now I may be changing some parts of the story, but the story is the same." So he says, "Hey, how come some people are really nice and some people are not so nice? You know, what's going on? How come some people really act really nice at times and sometimes they don't, right?" And the grandfather says, "Well, it's an interesting one because you have two wolves that live inside you." Okay. Now, a plug here. My favorite animal of all time is wolf. Wolf is actually a really interesting animal. I probably have done 3-4 different lives on wolves, but wolves are really interesting. So he says, you have two wolves that live inside you. I was frozen. Okay, I couldn't tell. If you've heard this story, drop a raised hand emoji or something. So he says, you got two wolves that live inside you, and it really depends on which one you feed. That's the one that's going to grow. Hi, Mesa. How are you? Welcome. Good to see you. So that's the one that's gonna show up that day, right? So if you're gonna feed this angry wolf, this hurt wolf, this one that has been in pain and is jealous and is complaining and blaming of everything and everyone, if you constantly feed that with all your negative thoughts and all the stuff that is going on around you, and you focus on all that stuff and you keep feeding that wolf then that's the wolf that's going to show up in your life. That's the wolf that's going to be present. Now, on the other side, if you feed this kind wolf, the one that reads good stuff, or has a podcast a subscription, or does good stuff for the people and sees the good in people versus the evil in people, is always there to help out, to give a helping hand, to do a random act of kindness for people. If you constantly feed that wolf inside you, because they're both hungry, it's not like one is going to be starving and the other one is just going to sit there, right? So, oh, I see you're frozen. Okay, maybe you can just go out of Facebook and come right back in. That usually does it. So they're both very hungry, right? So it just depends on which one you feed, and you can't feed them both, right? Now, that's a great story, and that's alive in its own. Now, I shrunk the story for the purpose of this live, because the feedback or the takeaway I want to share with you is really going to surprise you. I wanted to shrink the story. So you got these wolves that are within you, and you get to choose which one to feed. You get to choose that, right? They don't. You do, right? I want to blow your mind with something, okay? I don't think I've ever shared this before, but if you have two wolves that live inside you, chances are other people have two wolves that live inside them. So with the same equation, with the same principle, if you choose to feed a particular wolf within you, and that one shows up in your life, imagine how it would translate if you were to choose which wolf you would feed in other people. Imagine that. Imagine if you feed the angry, nervous, depressed, anxious, envious, lazy, blaming, complaining. If you feed that wolf in other people, guess how they're going to show up in your life? They're going to show up as a wolf that is ready to tear things apart. It's going to do some damage. It's going to harm you, because you're feeding that into other people as well. This whole wolf idea within you, listen, it's not just you and this whole planet Earth, just in case you didn't know, there's a couple other people around you, and they got the same two wolves. I'll give you a concept that you may find interesting, okay? This goes to, let's go with a romantic relationship, okay? It's so common, right? It's so common when you get into an argument. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to buy each other flowers. You're going to start tearing each other apart. Now, depending how bad it is, then the other one is just going to up one or two, right? It's just going to become this ugly fight, right? You say one thing, the other person says something, you ain't going to eat that and just sit there, right? You're going to come up with something else, and they're going to come up with something else, and then you're going to come up with something else, and then it's just not going to be pretty, right? It's just going to escalate pretty quickly, and you start tearing each other apart, and it's going to be real ugly. That's common. That's what most people do. When they get angry, the dirt comes out. Now, listen to me. Some of you may not agree with me, and that's totally okay. Or you may agree with me because this is just a live and it's not in real life situation, okay? But I want you to really put yourself there, okay? When you're arguing, when you're fighting with your significant other, when you're arguing, you're fighting, and you drop some, let's say you drop the F-bomb, or you say F you, or something just like you come from this, and you were this, and you throw something at them, right? You throw some kind of a zing at them, right? And he or she comes back with something else, or they take it, or just, it just becomes real bad at that moment, right? Now, let's say you come back, everything's great now. You come back and you're going to start apologizing. Now you got a couple things to apologize for. One thing, you got to apologize for this whole thing to start, and then you got to apologize for the things you said. You got to say, hey, I really didn't mean it when I called you. I really didn't mean it. You didn't? See, I've been in a few arguments, and when somebody says I didn't really mean it, I don't buy that. Like I said, it's easy for you to agree with me, but it's much more difficult when you're actually in an argument with me in a relationship, and I tell you that I don't buy that. When you tell me I didn't mean that, I say I don't buy that. It's not that you don't mean that. It's that you didn't want that to come out. You did mean that, because it was just waiting for a moment for it to come out. I don't think I've done a live on this, but it's a whole concept that I have. I know. But so my thing is this, and this really relates to these two wolves. At that moment, when you're angry, when you're upset, when you're pissed off at each other, if somebody's still here live, drop some hearts or comments or something, because I don't. Facebook is being kind of strange. If you're live here, drop a comment or some hearts or something, so I know you're here, or share it or something. So this relates to the two wolves, right? So at that moment where you're angry, you're right, you want to just drop all kinds of stuff, and it's not because you're, I get it. It's an argument, so you don't want to like drop, oh, I love yous and roses and chocolate and stuff. I get it, right? I get all that. That's very common. It's not common to think like I do. And at that moment, to really try really hard, at least try not to cuss, not to say things that you're going to have to apologize for later. Because now you got to fix that up now. I mean, you'd have to with me if you were with me, right? Because I really do my ultimate best not to go there. I don't think I've ever cussed out a girl, ever. I don't think so. I've yelled and screamed, and but I've never. It's just not my thing, not something I practice. It's a difficult one, but I don't feed that wolf. That wolf is starving for me to feed it right now. I just don't want to feed that wolf. I don't. You've got to recognize that. You have got to recognize that. at the heat of the argument, when you are just about to go at each other's throat, guess which wolf is showing up? Hungry, starving, staring at you, saying, feed me, cuss me out, tell me all kinds of nasty stuff. Let me get pissed. Tell me how I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. I did this, I did that, and I am... Boom, boom, boom. Feed me so I can rip you apart. I don't feed that wolf. Like I said, I yell, I scream, I do my best to walk away. I can count the number of times in my hand, the times that I've stuck around and yelled back and forth. But most of the time, I just walk away. I just don't say anything. I just go for a walk. I do whatever I have to do, and I come back, and I don't feed that wolf. And I don't want that wolf within me to be fed. I don't stick around for that stuff to feed that wolf within me either. This is so huge, you guys. If you're with me, drop some hearts or comments or something, right? Not only I don't feed it, but I don't let that wolf within me get fed either. So what do? I don't want to hear it. I walk away. I don't want to hear it. I don't want that wolf to... I don't want the nasty guy to come out. I don't want that bad wolf to come out, right? So the same thing happens in other people. If there's two wolves that live within you, and one's a good one, one's a bad one, and they're both hungry, and you get to feed one of them by choice, carry that concept out to other people and recognize that other people also have two wolves within them. One a good wolf and one a bad wolf, and they're both hungry and starving. And you also play a role in feeding one of those two by choice. So choose wisely. Hopefully you guys get some love, some inspiration, some value from this. I appreciate you guys. Drop your thoughts, your comments, your feedback below. Let this feed grow. I really want to get some feedback from you guys and see what you think about this this whole flipperoo of of this story, of this principle, if you would. Really want to get some feedback from you guys. So drop it in the comments below. Let this feed grow. I appreciate you guys. And if you feel like this was worthy of sharing, do what you got to do. Spread the love. And yeah, I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.